Situationships. Don't do it. What is a situationship? Situationship essentially is a relationship without the rules and regulations that guide that relationship. So you're not friends, but you're not a couple. You're kind of in between. You're doing all the relationship things. Sometimes you're having sex, you're spending time together, you're developing feelings for each other, but you're not quite defined. You don't have a title. And that's basically what a situationship is. You are in a situation. So today I specifically want to cover the fact that I personally do not believe that situationships work out for women. Now, I'm not going to generalize because it might work for some and it probably does, but overall, I do not think that women do well in situationships. And I'll go into the details why I feel the way that I feel in a little bit. But first of all, I'm going to talk about the fact that situationships can differ for different people. Some people get into situationships because they don't want commitments, and both people are on the same page. They don't want a commitment, they just want to spend time with someone without the rules and regulations that guide a committed relationship. So they're free to go about and do what they want, but that person is still their someone that they see to do all kinds of shit together. And then there are the situationships where people come together and one person doesn't want to commit and the other person is hoping that by spending time with that one person and doing the relationship stuff, they will eventually change that person's mind and it will turn into a relationship. And some people get into situationships just because they want someone to have sex with and they don't want to kind of spread it about so that one person will do. Everyone has their reasons for getting into this, but today I want to stick to the subject of the women that get into situationships with men, hoping that that man who has made it clear that he doesn't want to commit in one way or another changes his mind and discovers that they are the one. I'm going to tell you straight up, they are not going to discover that you are the one, because if they wanted to be with you, they would be with you. You wouldn't have to spend time with them and convince them to want you. If a man wants you, he wants you. So if he's telling you that he's not ready, please believe he means what he's saying. So I'm someone that has been there, done that. I've got the t-shirt. So I am going to use myself as an example to hopefully steer you clear of the illusion that a situationship might lead to happily ever after. And don't get me wrong, sometimes it does, but majority of the time, I promise you, you're wasting your time. So let me tell you some of my stories. I only have 2 stories to tell because, you know, it's not a thing that I do. Stupid Yanna. So my first experience being in a situationship was with a guy that I met, and I really liked him. You know, the initial like, I wasn't in love with him or anything. I liked him. He was sweet. He was cute. He was my type-ish. And so we started spending time together. We went on dates, and, you know, the more time you spend with someone, of course, you're going to start to develop some level of affection for them. Anyways, we were spending lots of time together, but please keep in mind, from the very beginning, he made it clear to me that he didn't want a relationship. So this was not someone that was leading me to believe that this was leading somewhere. He was very clear and honest from the start that he didn't want a relationship. And I was there thinking, well, I'm just going to spend time with him. What harm can it do? I'm not in love with the guy. This is fun. I'm enjoying his company. Let's do it. So it was cool with me until I started to develop feelings. But by the time I started to develop these feelings, I had already allowed him to believe that I was cool with things as they were. So I didn't feel like I had the right to then start saying that I wanted more, and I didn't want him to be doing whatever he was doing when he was doing it, because I couldn't make demands because I had put myself into a situation where we weren't really anything. And so I didn't have the right to say anything. Eventually, I started to fall for him, and at that point I had to remove myself from the situation because he didn't want a relationship, and he had made it clear that he didn't want a relationship for whatever reason. And my issue was that he was spending so much time with me. I met his family, I met his friends. We were doing pretty much everything that you do in a relationship. We just did not have the title. So it was inevitable that I was going to feel more for him because he was treating me like I was special. And so that is why I felt, and that is why I had to remove myself, because he was never going to give me what I wanted. And I stuck around for longer than I should, thinking that I was going to change his mind, that I was what he wanted. But the fact is, if I was what he wanted, he would have made that clear from the start. And if I'm giving him everything that he wants from me, why then does he really need to commit to me when he's getting what he wants without the commitment? And so I just walked away. We didn't talk for years because I needed a break. I needed to detach myself. The point I'm making here is that I went into that situation knowing what it was. And in my mind at first, there's no harm going to happen here because, it's just fun. Eventually, I developed feelings, and those feelings ended up getting hurt. In essence, I ended up hurting myself because I was warned and I walked into it anyways. And that is the issue that I want to raise here, is that as women, we go into these things thinking, oh no, he's not going to hurt me. I'm just going to have a little bit of fun. But women develop emotions. Men have the ability to spend time with a woman in an intimate fashion without any feelings. It's just a thing that they're doing. Women, for the most part, can't always do that. So even though we think that we can, eventually you develop feelings, especially when that person is treating you a certain way. And so you want them to yourself. And when someone's made it clear that they don't want you and you're still kind of trying to hold out hope that they will change their minds and discover that you are the one, you end up hurting yourself. And that is story number one. I'll tell you about story number two now. Story number two, this is special. This was somewhat different because this guy made me believe that he wanted a relationship. That's actually what I thought was happening because, like I said, I like clarity. I like to know where we're going. So I ask these questions because I'm not trying to put myself into a situation where I end up getting hurt. So he made me believe that he wanted a relationship with me. And so I went into it thinking that we were building something. Of course, I don't expect someone to commit to me straight away. We spend time together. We see how it's going. We liked each other. It was even deeper than that, I think. It got deeper than that. And I'm thinking, okay, we are evolving now. It is going somewhere. Only for him to change his mind and tell me that he liked me, but he wasn't ready for a relationship. But my problem at this point was that I had already invested my emotions into this man. So it was going to be hard for me to just kind of walk away, especially because, again, in this situation, he was doing absolutely everything that you expect from a man that claims to be into you. So it was confusing. And a part of me knew that this was just going to end up with me getting hurt, or it was just bullshit. A part of me knew, because I'm thinking, as I've pointed out, if a man wants you, there are not really going to be that many issues with him committing to you. So if he can't commit to you and he's giving you all these different excuses, then there's a problem. And there is no point hanging on hoping that things will change. But I hung on hoping that something would change. And in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, well, I'm okay with this. It's not what I would like, but I like him. So I'm just going to tolerate something that I really, really don't want to tolerate because I don't want to lose him. And again, this is a problem that women have. We get emotionally invested in someone and we start to make very stupid, questionable decisions because of our emotions, because of our feelings, because we love him. And when you love him, he can sometimes convince you to do shit that you would not normally do. And you look back on it and you think, what the fuck was I thinking? The general point that I'm trying to make here is that if you go into any kind of interaction with a man as a woman, if you go into any kind of interaction with a man and you do not want it to turn into a situationship, then you have to be clear from the start what you want. And if that person and you are not on the same page, it's better to walk away. Don't get caught up in he's cute, he's nice, he's lovely. He may be all the things that you want, but he's not willing to give you what you want. Walk away and fight. Look, promise you there are plenty fish in the sea. It may not seem like it at the time, but there are. You cannot be so fixated on one person who doesn't really want to give you what you want that you neglect the probably thousands of people that would willingly give you what you want. When you put yourself into these situations, you start to lose your self-esteem. It starts to chip away at you because you start to think, well, why doesn't he want me? What's wrong with me? And that is a problem. It starts to affect your mental health because you start to define your value based on that person. It does you no good. So this is why I believe this is a wider subject, but I don't want this video to go on forever. So I'm just dropping little gems here to let you understand that as much as you might want someone, if you are both not on the same page, it's rarely ever gonna work. You have to define what you want. Be clear. Communication. I want a relationship. Do you? No, I'm out. I don't want a relationship. Do you? Yes. Okay, we're not on the same page. I'm out. Be clear about what you want. And if you're not getting what you want, be gone. Find someone on the same page as you. Do not put yourself into a place where your emotions are all over the place and you don't know what the fuck is happening and you're just sticking around hoping that someone will change. I promise you, again, if a man wants you, you don't have to convince him to give you a commitment. He'll just do it because you're all he sees, you're all he wants. Trust me. Okay. I'm done talking. Please let me know in the comments below if you've had any experiences in situationships, be you a man or a woman, because I understand that men also go through this, but this video was specifically talking about it from the perspective of a woman because that's what I am. So please leave a comment below. Give me your thoughts without being crude, rude, or disrespectful. Please like, please share, please subscribe, and please come back and watch more videos. Take care.